I've taken two questions from the chapter electricity. The first question is, what do you mean by short circuiting and what precaution? Okay, first let's take the first one over here. So what is short circuiting? You know that there are two wires, one with red insulation, that is live wire, and other with black insulation called neutral wire. And mostly they are connected with any device, could be bulb or any other thing. But if this wire comes in direct contact, could be because of poor insulation or overloading, then what happens? Yeah, I've written over here, when the live wire comes in a contact with a neutral wire accidentally, resistance in the circuit become very low and the current in the circuit increases abruptly. As you know, because of Ohm's law, sorry, Joule's law, excessive current will lead to the heating of this wire, and the wire will can catch fire, right? So what we say that this is called short circuit. That is when the live wire comes in contact with the neutral wire. Now, question the next one, if I say that what precautions we should use in case of electricity, use of electricity. So the precautions that we should take, number one is connect using fuse wire, MCB, right? As safety equipments, earth wire with metallic appliances. Earth wire prevents a short circuit. And yeah, that's MCB is one of them. Then fuse wire or fuse, and then earth wire, right? This is earth wire with green insulation, prevents electric shock. And other things you can write over here is that not connecting too many appliances with a single socket. I've taken these three questions from the chapter electricity. The first question is, what is fuse, and write the material used in the fuse. As you can see, this is the fuse, and there can be other types of fuse only. This is basically a safety device. Yeah, it's a safety device which protects our electrical appliances when excessive current flows through it from damaging in case of short circuit or overloading. Now, next part is write the material used in the fuse. So what is the material used here? It is alloy of, it can be pure tin or an alloy of copper, and it has low melting point, and this, so as it, what happens that when excessive current flows through this, we have studied in Joule's law of heating, because of excessive current, this wire become hot and it melts and the circuit break. Okay, that's what the question. I think this, the next one is this only. How does it work? So as I can show you once again, that when the current, let's say the current is flowing in this direction, current is flowing from this to this direction, and let's say this is one device connected with this. Now what is expected to happen if the large amount of current flows through it, excessive current flows through it, it can enter. But what happens, because of the high melting point, this fuse wire will melt, this circuit will break, and will prevent the circuit, prevent the appliance from getting damaged. Now there is one more question over here, the last one. What does it says? If I read the last one, it says a device has 1 kilowatt electric power. When operated at 220, we have to calculate the fuse wire used in this case. So to solve this, we'll be applying this relation P is equal to VI. That means I is equal to P over V. So I is how much? I in this case is going to be P, which is how much? 1000 watt, right? 1000 from here. And it is 220. If you are familiar with this calculation, this comes 4.54. 54, I suppose. Ampere. This is 4.54 ampere. Now, we always keep a fuse wire, right, slightly higher than this, right? So it should be, and fuse wire comes not in decimals in market. So it should be what? It should be 5 ampere, slightly more than the current flowing through this. Two questions here. The first question is, write the name and structure of an alcohol and an aldehyde having 4 carbon atom. So first I'll do for alcohol with 4 carbon atoms. So first I'll place 4 carbon atom in a straight chain. So that is 1, 2, 3, and 4. And what I'll do here, I'll join alcohol with what? Double bond. Oh, that's single bond H, right? Single bond OH is what? Alcohol. right? And this is what unsatisfied valency is filled with is with hydrogen. I'll put wherever, as you each carbon atom should have four bonds altogether. So I'll just make up this. So you can see that this has how many? C. The question here is, would you be able to check if the water is hard using detergent? Now for that, you have to first remember what is hard water. Like hard water is the water which have two salts, that is calcium or magnesium salts dissolved into it. As you can see, this is soft water. This is calcium and magnesium salts. So due to the presence of these two salts, so soap molecules, the soap molecules, let me write here. These soap molecules will react with these two salt, and will form a precipitate that we called as scum. That decreases the cleansing action of a soap, and therefore you say that that scum decreases the cleansing action of a soap, and less froth or less lather is formed in case of hard water. And that is the reason we use detergent. Now thing is that detergent do not form scum, right? So if I am asked to find out using soap, which of them is hard and soft water, right? If I'm asked to find out using soap, right, not detergent, using soap, I can say that this is soft water and this is hard water. How? Because you can see more lather is formed over here, and in this case less lather is formed, and a scum, you can see a precipitate, that milky color over here. This is because of the formation of this scum. So using soap, we can decide or determine or distinguish which one is soft or which one is hard water, but not using detergent. Why? Because in case of detergent, a scum will not be formed, and equal amount of lather will be formed in both. So we'll say no is the answer, and the justification I've already given. In this question, you can see a diagram is given, that is the parts of flowers over here. Now, what we have to find out in this case, number one is pollen grains produced, right? So pollen grain is produced by what? Pollen grain is produced by anther. So I should label this. Pollen grain is produced. Pollen grain is what? The male gamete, that yellow dot thing. So the male gamete is produced by this, and the name of this is anther, right? This is anther. The next is pollen grains are transferred. So pollen grain is transferred from anther to stigma, right? This part, which is labeled A here, is stigma. And the next part is what happens to the ovule and ovary after fertilization. So this ovule will turn into seeds. After fertilization, it will turn into seeds, and ovary turns into fruit. That's what we need to know in this question. The question here is a compound X that undergoes addition reaction with H2 to form Y, having molecular formula 30 gram. So molecular mass, sorry. So we know the molecular mass of this Y compound, not X here. And X decolorizes bromine water and burns with a smoky flame. So many hint is given about X. What we can see that X is decolorizing bromine water. So what we know that X X is what? Unsaturated hydrocarbon. Moreover, it burns with sooty flame. So this also indicates this is X is an unsaturated hydrocarbon. And then what we know that an unsaturated hydrocarbon on passing hydrogen gas should turn saturated. One more time, what we know that X being an unsaturated hydrocarbon on passing hydrogen gas turns into saturated hydrocarbon. That's why in the presence of nickel or palladium as the catalyst. Now the thing is that we have to identify X and Y and write their chemical equation. As of now, there are several unsaturated hydrocarbon. So how do we figure out which unsaturated hydrocarbon they are talking about? I can see a hint is given here about this Y. The Y with the molecular formula is 30. So what you have to predict that it's a saturated hydrocarbon, and it can be C4H6. Now cross checking it, carbon whose molecular mass is 12 into 2, and oxygen whose molecular mass is 1, so 1 into 6. So this is 24 plus 6, that comes out to be 30. Well, therefore we confirm that here Y is what? Y is this, right? This is Y. So if you get Y, you can figure out what other compounds are there. So ethane is what comes out from X, and X must be what? Ethene, that is C2H4. When it reacts with hydrogen gas in the presence of nickel or palladium catalyst to give saturated hydrocarbon C4, C2H6. So we identify X and Y, and in fact we have written the chemical equation also. Well, there is an extended part of this. This is write the structural formula of one is butanone. Butanone is what? Having ketone as the functional group. So what we know, I'll keep for but there are 4 carbon atom. That's why I placed 4 carbon atom in a straight chain. And you know that for ketone it's double bond O, and ketone does not join at the end or at the extreme, right? Either first or last. So it has to be over here. Rest I can write hydrogen over here for the remaining. So we can see these are hydrogen 1, 2, 3. Will not place a hydrogen here. Why? Because there's a 4 bond already. The valency is satisfied here. So this is the structure of butanone. But I will writing the molecular formula. Do not club all carbon together. This CO should be written separately. So I'll first write this, which is CH3, then CO. This is convention of writing CO, and then you can write C2H5. This you can further split also, but that's better too if you write this. We did for this was butanol. Then we have pentanoic acid. So for pentanoic acid is what? Pentane, that means having 5 carbon atom. Pentane is 5 carbon atom. And at the same time, we can see it is which functional group is present? Functional group present is ethanoic acid. And how do we determine ethanoic acid? With double bond O, single bond OH, and rest is hydrogen. These are indicating hydrogen. So this you may write C4H9 COOH, C4H9 COOH. Now we'll do this in the next, checking the how to check. Would you be able to check water is hard or using detergent?